Good afternoon. I think there's a little bit of enthusiasm about what we're about to do today. So good afternoon. My name is Jay Ackridge, and I serve as Dean of the College of Agriculture. And it's just a real privilege to welcome each and every one of you today to this celebration and this groundbreaking. As all of you know, we're going to be breaking ground on a terribly important project for our college, for the university, and frankly for the animal industries in our state. And we're also here to lift up two extraordinary organizations that provided the cornerstone funding for this project, the Creighton Brothers organization and the Land O'Lakes organization. And you're going to hear from leaders in both of those organizations just a bit later in our program. You know, the importance of these facilities to the college, to the department, to the animal industries really can't be overstated. Animal Sciences is our largest undergraduate program. We have more than 700 students studying animal sciences at the undergrad level, and maybe more importantly, 96% of those students are placed upon graduation, and we're obviously thrilled with that. About 20% of those students will move on into careers in veterinary medicine, and about 15% on into graduate school and in other areas. And then the rest take positions in a variety of areas in the animal industries, everything from zoos and animal health to production agriculture, nutrition, and again, a variety of other places. So it's an important program for us. It's an important provider of human talent for the animal industries. You know, we've got more than 35 faculty, and more than 50 graduate students who do research and extension on problems of importance to the animal industries, nutrition, reproductive physiology, food safety, animal health and well-being. All of these areas are front and center and critical, and again, part of why the mission of this department is so very, very important. You know, and as I said many times as we were working on the funding for this space, it was time to recapitalize this important department for all the reasons that I've just articulated. It's an important provider of human talent for the industry, an important provider of research and extension for the industry, and they really needed world-class space to do the world-class work that our industry needs, that our students need as they take positions of leadership in the animal industries. And no disrespect to our friends in food stores, but this space on this corner, it's not much to look at today, okay? But just go with me for a second and roll the calendar forward for a couple of years in your mind. And imagine now it's the fall of 2017, and the Hobart and Russell Creighton Hall of Animal Sciences is now open. The Land O'Lakes Center for Experiential Learning is now open. And you find in those buildings students and faculty working together in these new collaborative learning spaces, talking about research projects and talking about class assignments. We've got a larger group of graduate students, perhaps attracted in part by these new facilities, doing world-class research in world-class labs. We've got a 4-H livestock judging event happening in the new Purina Pavilion. And then there's a big line outside the butcher block. Okay, you can actually get there, and I'm in that line. Okay. And they're there to buy those new meat products that have been created by our students in the meat science lab. So when you start to imagine what's coming on this corner, I think it's impossible not to get excited about the department and about the future of the work that's going to happen there. So again, we couldn't be more excited, and thank you so much for being here today. Today is about thanks, and I want to make a few important thank yous on people and organizations that helped us get here today. First, of course, on campus, this facility does not happen without the support of our Board of Trustees and our President, Mitch Daniels. And I know we've got Trustee Tom Spurgeon here and President Daniels, and just a big thanks to the support of administration for this project. And I can't possibly thank everyone at Purdue that's really helped us get to this point, but there are some names that I do need to call from our college. Associate Dean, Senior Associate Dean Karen Plout, Dr. Alan Matthew, Dr. Terry Stewart, Dr. Steve Hawkins, and John Ball have all been instrumental in helping us move to this particular point. Physical Facilities has been a great partner. Sam Nesbitt and Vice President Mike Klein, again, have really moved this project along since it was approved. And from development, Tammy Kettler and Eric Putman did very heavy lifting on their fundraising part. So this group, very, very important. And finally, a big thanks to the entire Animal Sciences Department, because after this building was approved by the trustees, they have really gone to work to help move the design forward and keep this project on task. So let's give that group a round of applause. And turning to financial support, we owe a big thanks to our Indiana General Assembly and the Pence administration for the $35 million in state funds that are part of this $60 million project. And today we have a number of our elected officials here. Senator Ron Alting, I think, was not able to make it, but let's see, Representative Tim Brown is here, Representative Bob Cherry, Representative Sue Arrington, Representative Sheila Clinker, and Representative Randy Truitt. I wonder if you would all stand and let us give you a round of applause. Just had terrific support from our legislature for the project. And finally, and certainly last but not least, I want to acknowledge a very important set of donors that have made commitments to the space that will be recognized on individual locations inside the buildings. You've got a small flyer at your seat that recognizes these organizations, and these are people that hopefully you'll acknowledge and again say thank you to during the reception. But when we were going through this project, we knew the only way it was going to happen was broad-based industry support, and that happened. We've got a terrific set of people represented here today, individuals and organizations that made financial commitments that ultimately made this space possible. Again, let's give that group a round of applause. And finally now, as I mentioned earlier, we're here today in part to recognize two extraordinary organizations that stepped up with $5 million commitments to ultimately name these two buildings, the Creighton Brothers organization and the Land O'Lakes organization. And we're going to hear from leaders from those two organizations now. And it's my privilege to first introduce Eddie Creighton. Many of you know Eddie and the Creighton family, but he's a Purdue Ag alumnus. He received his degree in animal sciences with a major in poultry science from Purdue in 1954. And on graduation, he went to work on the family farm, the Creighton Brothers farm that had been formed by his father and uncle, Hobart and Russell Creighton, back in 1925. And there's a Purdue Extension connection even going back to the Creighton Brothers organization at that time. But Eddie worked his way up through the company, became general manager in 1982, and then retired from the organization in 1998. And under Eddie's leadership, Creighton Brothers really has grown into one of the nation's leading egg producers. He now serves on the board as board chair. Deep connections with our college in a number of ways. He served on our Dean's Advisory Council and been a director of the Ag Alumni Association, received a Distinguished Animal Science Alumnus Award, and we couldn't be more thrilled that one of our buildings is going to carry the name of Hobart and Russell Creighton. So, Eddie.
But a lot of people here, more than I was expecting. You know, when you reach a certain age, and a few of you have, freedom comes over you. I can say and do and wear what I want. So I'll try to keep it short. What was I going to say? There's 65 years ago, I was a freshman here at Purdue, and long toward the end of that freshman year, the dean called me in his office. Dean V.C. Freeman. I don't know if you remember him, but he was dean. And I never forget what he told me. He said, "Son, you're going to have to improve your grades if you want to continue here in school. And he did get my attention. I want to say that it was about 90 years ago that my dad, Hobart and Russell Creighton, formed a partnership, and it was a partnership of two men, and it was on a piece of paper. They both signed it and formed the Creighton Brothers Partnership, and it's existed ever since. That partnership continues today. And then there was a vision or a dream, not much difference, of what's to come. And they had that vision and dream. And I say that in comparison to the facility that we're celebrating today. It was a vision and a dream, which today is starting to turn into reality. And that's a great thing. And I would say from our company standpoint, the donation that we made was in honor of those two men. Because of their visions and dreams, that became a reality. And I think that this building that we're about to start today will have a similar impact on life. And I really, the family, and it's all family owned, we're very proud to be a part of that. And we thank you for letting us do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Haynert, and I'm a sophomore here in animal science with a concentration in pre-veterinary medicine. Now, my ultimate goal is to be a large animal veterinarian and own my own practice. It'll be a few years before I have the ability to achieve that goal. However, I'm a lot closer than when I first started. My journey began when I was in 5th grade. I still remember the day that I told my mom that I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I will never forget her response. She goes, "Well, then you should go to Purdue, and that's going to require hard work and good grades." So for the coming years, I labored in the classroom and took every opportunity I could to get some hands-on animal science experience. Another day that I remember very vividly was December 7th. The day I opened my inbox to find an email featuring in big block letters, "Kayla Haynert is a Boilermaker." To me, that email was more than an acceptance letter. It was an invitation. It was an invitation to expand my knowledge and push my own limits. It was an invitation to work alongside faculty and students that would cause me to question the world that I lived in order to better impact it. It was an invitation to continue to pursue my dream, and I gladly accepted that invitation. Today, I too stand here excited. I'm so excited to one day be able to stand united under one roof with my mentors and fellow students as we strive to achieve goals that, once completed, will expand past our own individual circles of influence to impact an industry that stretches to every corner of our world. Today, I'm also restless. I'm restless because the industry that I love is being challenged in ways that it never has before. I'm anxious to roll up my sleeves and begin contributing to the challenge of providing an abundant and safe protein supply to a very hungry world. But most importantly, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the generosity of the Creightons and Land O'Lakes for not only believing in the industry that I love, but believing in its future, which lies within those students who have accepted the invitation to do more and be more. I'm thankful that they believe in me, just a small town Indiana girl with a passion for animals and agriculture. So thank you, Land O'Lakes and Creighton Brothers, for supporting my quest to live out the dream that little 5th grade me planned so long ago. Thank you for supporting my dreams. pleasure to introduce the President and Chief Executive Officer of Land O'Lakes Incorporated, Chris Policinski. Land O'Lakes is the second largest cooperative in the nation, which does business in the U.S. and more than 50 countries through 3 business units: Dairy Foods, Purina Animal Nutrition, and Winfield. Mr. Policinski has over 35 years of experience in the food industry. He joined Land O'Lakes in 1997 and was appointed President and CEO in 2005. He is a member of boards of directors for several industry associations and local community boards. He is a leading voice nationally on food and agriculture issues and a passionate advocate for preparing the next generation of industry leaders. Today, we are privileged to have him here at Purdue University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Policinski to the stage.
Kayla, thank you for that really nice introduction and for that great story. Eddie, Dean Ackridge, President Daniels, trustees, elected officials, I also want to thank you for the great collaboration and the creativity that you all put into this project and to making today possible. We at Land O'Lakes are absolutely thrilled and honored to play our small part in making this a reality. We're thrilled to be here today, and as much to celebrate what this symbolizes as the building itself, because what it symbolizes is how this generation is going to get after one of the grand challenges of our time. I think food and agribusiness is the greatest growth industry of our generation. We have to nearly double food production between now and 2050. We have very limited resources to do so. Now, I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist because we've already done this. In the past generation, from our grandparents to today, we have increased food production more than 2.5 times with flat inputs. And right here in our most productive ag territory, we're growing 6.5 times more corn on 13% fewer acres than our grandparents did. The road ahead is steeper. We have fewer resources. We have a lot of mouths to feed. But I'm an optimist because of what this project symbolizes. It symbolizes bringing our very best and brightest talent to not the challenge, but the opportunity to produce a lot more food in a lot more productive and sustainable ways. By the way, Land O'Lakes does have a commercial interest in this. We are a growth company in a growth industry, and we do look forward to increasing our relationship with Purdue, the great students and the great faculty and staff that are here, because we know we need talent to continue our growth story. So a long-winded thank you for the great collaboration that has occurred. 2 other quick thank yous to Land O'Lakes staff, Pete Jansen and Lydia Botham, who championed this idea from the get-go, and to the Land O'Lakes board, and 3 board members are here today, Doug Reimer, Ronnie Moore, and Jeff Troike, somewhere in the audience, who listened to this crazy idea of putting $5 million to work, not in our own business, but in collaboration with someone else. So thank you to both of those groups as well. It is a great day, and as I said when I started, it's an honor to be here, and my compliments to all of you on this great collaboration. Now, I think I have the easiest job. My notes said I have to introduce somebody next, and it is President Mitch Daniels. So this will be the shortest introduction ever, President Mitch Daniels.
You're hired. I've been trying to get people to abbreviate their introductions ever since I got to this place. We'll just show them a tape of that, Chris. That'll be very handy. Eddie, I'm sure everybody else here has the same thought I did. Thank goodness you buckled down and studied back then when Dean Freeman told you to. We wouldn't be here. As it happens, last night in New York, I saw my best friend from high school. We went off to different colleges. He went off to play football somewhere, and I still remember we got back together that first Christmas break. We were freshmen, and how'd you do at school? And he said, not good. I had 4 Fs and a D. I knew his dad. It was really tough. I said, oh my gosh, what'd your dad say? He said, he told me I'm spending too much time on one subject. Jay Ackridge is almost impossible. He's so good. He's so great at what he does. Such a tremendous leader of our college, and such a inspirational person. He's very, very hard to say no to. Any idea he's probably going to sell, at least to me. But I have to say, this particular idea did not need a great salesperson. This idea is so important, so I think obvious, that it would have sold itself. We have such a tremendous tradition at this university in the most important, most fundamental of all human pursuits. A human community that can't feed itself can't do anything else and won't be around very long. And so we have this magnificent history here and this magnificent challenge that Chris just reminded us of right ahead of us. And so, of course, it makes sense to make the investments, to find a way to make the investments necessary to continue to produce leadership and its contribution to this most urgent of endeavors. And Tom Spurgeon, who was chair of the board at the time this decision was made, I know will confirm that, yeah, it was looked at very carefully, you bet it was, but the answer kept coming up, yes, from every angle we looked at it. And thank you so much to all our friends from the legislature, Sheila and Bob and Sue and Tim and Brother Druitt. They also scrutinize these things very, very carefully. By the way, they quite appropriately require us to name a top priority. There's no shortage of things that on our various campuses that could be invested in, but the legislators are very conscientious about this, and so this idea was at the top of our list, and happily they found a way to help us make it real. And I guess I just want to say that we are going to be very careful. We are being very careful about capital investments on this campus. There have been a whole lot of them in the last couple decades. We don't want to overshoot and build up fixed assets that in 10 or 20 years someone says, what fool put that empty building there? This will not be the case. The case is absolutely a clear cut. I'm with Jay. He has a better imagination for this than I can, but even I can look ahead to the great students who will pass through this building, to the great research and the many breakthroughs that generations worldwide will benefit from. And just to know that we were here on a day like this when it got started will be a fond memory for me, and I hope for you. Thank you all for being with us, and I believe is it now time to pretend we're breaking some ground? To the shovels.